Hi there everybody, I'm Cornelius Koopman and welcome to All About Property. Now, I recently met up with property lawyer Meyer de Waal, who feels very strongly that home buyers should be empowered before they go house hunting. Well, Meyer developed what he refers to as a property toolbox to help buyers achieve just that. Meyer, welcome to All About Property.
Thank you, Cornelius.
Now, there are stats that suggest that more or less 50% of home buyers currently in South Africa are first-time home buyers. And these people make a lot of home buying mistakes. Talk to us about some of this.
A lot of people go out and they start searching for a house before they actually get their ducks in a row. Now, being ducks in a row means, do you have enough money to pay for your transfer costs? There are transferring attorney costs, there are bond registration costs. When you have to apply for finance, you need to look at, will the bank give me the best interest rate? Will they give me the best deal? Do I have a deposit put down? Because a deposit can lower your interest rate. Interest rate can actually, if a bank adds 2% on top of prime, it can cost you 32% more for your property. And people do not think about that, and they just rush out, start looking for properties, sign an offer to purchase, and then they work backside around by then trying to arrange finance.
Do you think there's a lot of buyer's remorse for these first-time home buyers?
Exactly. A lot of people, we found that they sign the offer to purchase, then they get finance, and once they come and sit with me, and sometimes they even do buyer's education courses, and then they say to me, oh, I don't think I can actually afford this property because now I've got to pay the home loan, I've got to pay rates and taxes, I've got to pay levies, and a lot of people then even discover defects in their properties. Because remember that you buy a property foot stewards, and that means as is.
Now, they say buying a home does not come with a manual, but you actually went and you've created a whole manual with resources for buying a property, and you're calling it the Property Toolbox. I think just explain to us, or just give us an overview, what exactly is the Property Toolbox?
It's a collaboration of experts in the property field. We added home ownership education, we added finance, we added all the tools that you need to go and buy a property. You can actually open up the toolbox and you can search around in the toolbox for a screwdriver or a hammer, whatever tool you'll need to do to buy the property, to get educated, to assist with finance, and actually even then take ownership at the end of the day and know that you have all the tools in one box together.
Now, Meyer, let's unpack some of these features in this Property Toolbox. The first one is you can actually help people with, firstly, understand their credit score and then help them to improve it. Give us a bit insight there.
Well, Cornelius, it starts actually with understanding the home buying process. So first we start with the awareness program. How do you understand, you tackle this process of buying a property? For there's a lot of information, and we call the home ownership education. The next step, the home ownership education, leads you to understanding your credit score, because that is where a home loan application can stand or fall. It can also mean adding interest at 1 or 2% on top of your home loan application. So the first one is credit score, and that is part of the education we provide.
You also help people understand the whole home buying process, which is a huge problem for people who don't know. Give us a bit of insight on exactly what the offer is there.
Well, a lot of people do not understand the A to Z. Sometimes I find that people say, I only submitted an offer, but all of a sudden now they want to tie me to this agreement. Now, offer to purchase becomes a legal and binding document once signed. You need to understand that you've got to source the property, you've got to have a finance for that, and then the conveyancing process will happen, bond registration, there will be cost, there will be ownership. So you've got to understand this entire process from A to Z to enable you to make the right decision.
Another feature of becoming a Property Toolbox member is you can assist people with their housing subsidies. Give us a bit of insight.
Well, the toolbox includes property finance. And we realize that a lot of people do not know about the assistance of a government. I always make a joke and say, do you know that the government actually saved money for you? And they say, how does it work? I say, well, there's a government subsidy called FLISP. FLISP subsidies are available in the price range of 4,500 to 22,000 Rand gross household income. And that money is available for every first-time buyer.
So if someone comes to you and say, I want to be a member of the Property Toolbox, you'll evaluate this person's situation and you'll be able to see whether he or she qualifies for a housing subsidy, and you can assist with the entire application process.
Exactly. A member of a toolbox can actually get all these services in one toolbox.
There's also a feature called Rent2buy in the Property Toolbox. What exactly is that?
Quite often we find a buyer comes to us and they do not have a required deposit that the bank needs them to put down. Now you add the legal fees. That can add another 3 to 4% on top of a deposit that you need to put down. Rent2buy has got a much lower deposit ratio. The second one will be your credit score. Quite often, if a bank picks up that you had 1 or 2 glitches in your credit score, they decline your application, or they increase your deposit to 20%. Then, on either way, you cannot get this home loan. So Rent2buy steps in there to assist people that are ready to buy. We also have a lot of people that just completed a debt repair program. For 2 years, they sat down and they tightened their belt and they paid off all their debt. Once they complete that cycle, a bank says to them, oh, come to me 20 months or 18 months later once you've built up a credit score again. It means you've got to open credit accounts again to build up a credit score. It's like wrong way around.
Yeah.
So we look at that from Rent2buy and say, we know that you've actually tightened your belt. You've put in everything to pay off your debt. Let's see if we can help you with Rent2buy.
Now, I must say my personal favorite with becoming a Property Toolbox member is you get free legal advice during the home buying process. Because most of the time, everyone works for the seller. And here you're giving legal advice to the buyer. Give us a bit of insight here.
So we assist the buyer to go through the deed of sale. We hold the person's hand and we then guide them towards the signing of a document. We also explain to them the process to go through. If they have questions, they can come back to us. Quite often we will refer them, for example, to a property inspection to be done for the property before they actually sign on the dotted line. So we try to plow back our knowledge that we've gained, our experience, putting it back for the home buyer and assisting the home buyer.
Are there any other features that stands out with regards to the Property Toolbox?
First, become an expert before you want to buy a property. Once you're an expert, you actually will be able to separate the good investments versus the bad investments. You'll know that you'll challenge the bank with the best interest rate. If a bank declines your interest rate, you know you've got a Rent2buy concept to fall back onto, or you can use a government subsidy if you're a first-time buyer. So we try to combine all the good elements of buying a property, and also we warn you about the negatives, because there are a lot of traps out there and there are pitfalls, and if you don't know about that, you're going to go into this unaware and you may likely be unhappy with your purchase investment.
Paul Meyer, thank you very much. Lovely chatting to you.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you, Cornelius.